Hello, my name is Stephanie Harris from Reclaim Yourself. Welcome to my Mindful Nook Immersive Experience series. For those of you who are new with this and my style, my structure is always the same. I have a topic, I do a little bit of a talk, and then we'll begin the meditation where I will help you achieve a deeper state of relaxation. Then my voice will be quiet and you're going to go where you're meant to go, and I'll pick you up on the other side. So yeah, it's very simple. So I'm going to just go jump right in. All right, so I recently spent some time reflecting on my relationships in my life, particularly the more negative ones, the toxic ones, the ones that, we really struggle with, so that I could better understand why I either attract certain people into my life or why I struggle so much with some of them. And the reason why I was looking into this aspect of my life is because I have spent so many years focusing within, um, trying to get to know myself better, to try to discover who I am as a person, just to become, more self-aware. Um, But now I've started to realize that it was time to start paying attention or closer attention to how I relate to others. So when we talk about self-awareness, there's two different kinds of self-awareness. There's internal self-awareness, then there's external self-awareness. So I've done a lot of the internal self-awareness piece where I look at my values and my weaknesses, my strength, the things I like, the things I don't like, my needs, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. You know, how my thoughts, focusing on my thoughts and what they are and how they influence my body and my emotions, all of that work, right? And lately, I've been trying to focus a little bit more attention on doing the external self awareness. And so I started looking at my relationships and how I relate to others. So, as you may or may not know, I don't know if you're practicing self awareness, but it's not an always easy thing to develop because it forces you to explore and really shine a light on the darker sides of yourself so that you can really get to know yourself and all the little crooks and nannies within. um, but it can be difficult because sometimes we're not always to embrace or even acknowledge some of those darker parts of us. But it is so necessary, not only to become more aware of our person and how this affects the way that we interact with the world, but it really does. When we take the time to reflect on ourselves and become more self-aware, both internally and externally, it really paves the way to more maturity and growth, living in the wise mind, as they call. But still, not easy. So I have worked on many aspects of myself, but relationships is something I continue, to struggle with. And I realize, especially lately, that, it requires more attention. So in my quest to become more self-awareness and to better understand how I am with my relationships, I came across Deepak Chopra's book called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire, in which in chapter 9 he talks about how we can discover ourselves at the soul level by examining how we see ourselves by the company that we keep. Timely, right? um in fact, the whole book talks about coincidences, and it was a bit of a coincidence that I came across this book. Anyway, sidebar. So in chapter 9 he states, and I quote, "I am that involves looking at everything in the world, everyone else in the world, and realizing that you are looking at another version of yourself." I think what he means is when we look around us, everything is an expression of ourselves. So think about it. How you wear your clothes is an expression of yourself. The kind of job that you have and is an expression of yourself. The kind of car you drive, the choices you make, everything, it's all an expression of who we are. Well, relationships is just another way that we express ourselves, and is definitely something worth looking into or examining more closely. Why? Because we're always in a relationship. Think about your own relationships. You have one at any given time. So be it with your parents, with your children, with your friends, with your coworkers, intimate partners. At any point in time in your life, there's always a relationship. Some are good, others not so much. So those we love, we want to be around because subconsciously we either see something in them that we see in ourselves, or we feel we may inherit from them something we love, right? So characteristic that we really love that we would like to embody more. Sometimes we see that in people and we want to have a bigger expression of that characteristics. However, having a strong negative reaction to someone, we can be sure that they have a characteristic or characteristics that are in common with us, but most likely these are traits which we are not willing to embrace, right? These are traits that live within us that we may not be willing to embrace. Our relationships are mirrors of ourselves. And when we don't like someone or we don't like certain traits or characteristics in someone, often those characteristics are reflections of us that we haven't yet accepted within us. Pretty amazing, right? So those whom we love and those whom we are repelled by are the mirrors of ourselves. So by recognizing that we can see ourselves in others, we can really begin to use this tool to develop greater self-awareness. So in chapter 9, let me just pull a book here. There's the quote. So as Deepak states, the qualities you most strongly deny in yourself are also a part of you and are likely the qualities that create the most turbulence in your life. You will attract people with all kinds of these qualities, the extremely positive qualities because you may not feel that you deserve them, and the extremely negative ones because you refuse to acknowledge their presence in your own life. I totally found that to be super powerful because when I reflect on my own relationships, particularly the negative ones, I have come across some pretty difficult relationships, especially most recently in one of my jobs where I just didn't get along with somebody that I was working with. And after a lot of reflection, I started realizing that some of the things that I didn't like about this person are characteristics that I too carried that I just maybe ignored. So when I read this chapter, I was like, holy cow, okay. So obviously I needed to reflect on this a little bit more, and which kind of inspired tonight's talk because although I was perfect for what I'm currently working through. But when we're willing to embrace both the light and the darkness within, we can really begin to heal ourselves and our relationships. But we must be willing to look within. We must be willing to explore ourselves among our relationships to see if maybe, just maybe, there are some patterns there, pardon me, that we can learn from. Maybe there are certain characteristics in someone that we really have a hard time with that we need to see if maybe that's something we also carry within our own characteristics. And so self-awareness is all about reflection. And one really important part of self-reflection involves the company that you keep, right? If you keep attracting people into your life, maybe you need to start asking yourself, why? Why am I attracting these people into my life? Maybe it's what you put out there in terms of who you are that you haven't acknowledged within yourself that is attracting these people into your life, whether good or bad, right? You could be putting really good vibes out there and you're attracting the same kinds of people, but you're not sure why. Well, take a look within and see. Maybe there are characteristics about those people that you portray out in the world that attracts those people. And then same thing for the negative. I hope that made sense. So we're going to jump into the meditation right now. But before we get going, I just want to, make sure that you understand that there are certain things to make this experience amazing. Okay. First of all, while we're in the meditation, understand that your thoughts will come and go the entire time. That's okay. This experience is not about emptying the mind, but rather exploring it. So try to follow the guidance of my voice as best you can, but don't be surprised if you miss a lot of what I say, especially if you're really into the meditation and it's really having you think. Don't stress out about it. Just let whatever comes to you come to you, no judgment. It's part of the process, okay? If you're laying on the ground, have a blanket. Put something under your knees like a pillow just so that you're comfortable, your lower back is comfortable. But if you're in a recliner, you're sitting, go ahead and cover yourself up with a blanket. I know I love having a blanket when I do these experiences because I get cold and it just keeps me nice and snug and really comfy. If you have an eye mask, go ahead and wear one. Dark eyes for some people just helps with the process. And also, don't be worried about wiggling and moving. This isn't a like you can't move situation. Get comfortable. And if you have an itch, scratch your itch. If you need urge feel to move, you're still going to get really awesome experience. And don't forget to wear your headphones. If you don't have any, that's okay. But if you do, I just find that the experience is just so much more meaningful and impactful, because it just helps eliminate some of the noise around. And finally, give yourself a good half an hour to 45 minutes, because at the end of the meditation, we always encourage people to write down what they got from the experience to anchor it into their memory and to practice within, to apply it within their personal life. So feel free to have your journal and a pen alongside you. You can go do that right now and come back. Yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to get the music started. I'm going to turn off my camera so that I can focus solely on this process, and I will see you on the other side. Okay. Finding the position so your body feels at ease. Close your eyes and begin to relax for this appointed time. Feel the surface upon which your body rests and allow this surface to support you completely. Feel your body give way and gently surrender any tension or strain. Notice the tempo of your breathing, and without altering it at all, becoming more aware of when the body wants to breathe in and when it wants to breathe out. Now, simply breathing in and out through your nose, if possible. Soften the muscles around your shoulders and let your arms drop and become heavy. Sinking into feeling supported and safe as you gradually slow down your breath. Taking a few longer, slower breaths in and allowing the out breath to cascade down as a gentle waterfall. Your thoughts will come and go. Allowing any topics, situations, or circumstances to drift through the mind and out with your streaming breath. Helping to clear your mind of the useless debris and thoughts not worth getting lost in. Feel the edges of your eyes soften, your jaw open, and let your shoulders drop just a bit more. Now feel the ribs flare out on the in-breath and contract in on the out-breath. Do this a few more times, feeling the ribs flare out and contract in. Repeating these words. In on the in-breath and out on the out breath. Simply enjoying the breath, easily repeat in on the in breath and out on the out breath. As we grow through our lives, we come to realize that sometimes our relationships are really good, and sometimes our relationships are struggling. We simply need to take a moment to examine why. We need to take a moment to pull up the mirror of our lives and see what reflects back at us. Because when we take the time to do that, we often realize that what we see in others is in fact a reflection of who we are. So now, as you hear these words, I admit I, allow yourself to silently complete the sentence. I admit I. Listen to your response, and as you hear it, silently repeat it back to yourself. I admit I. I admit I. I admit I. Next, as you hear these words, it's time for me to allow yourself to silently complete the sentence. It's time for me to. It's time for me to listen to your response, and as you hear it, repeat it back to yourself silently. It's time for me to. It's time. Now bringing them both together, I admit I. And it's time for me to. I admit I. And it's time for me to. I admit I. And it's time for me to. As you hear your internal response to these words, I admit and it's time for me to notice what becomes more clear. Listen now from within your heart until my voice returns. this meditation to a close, take a moment to straighten your legs if you are crossed. Point and flex your feet. Rotate your ankles. Travel up your legs and into the body. Up and across your shoulders and down your arms. And into your hands as you open and close them. Traveling up and into your throat and into your jaw. As the edges of your mouth lift up, and then bring your attention to rest behind your eyelids. On your next exhalation, your eyes open slowly. A smile washes across your face, sending the message of peace and gratitude for this time. Welcome back. So here at this point, I encourage you to take a few moments and journal what came to you during this guided meditation. As I mentioned earlier, it's a really great way to anchor the message so that it can be held consciously and acted on. So thank you for being here tonight with a lot of gratitude and joy. I really am happy that you are here today and are helping me on this journey for guided meditations. Thank you so much. Till next time. Bye for now.